What's going on, guys? And today we're going to be doing my Week 5 NFL predictions. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to rank these teams or predict properly. My current record is 30, 32, and 1. Last week I went 8 and 8 in predictions. Yeah, I don't know how to predict this properly, but anyways, jumping right in, I guess, to the Thursday night game. This should be an absolute stomper of a game. Everyone is super excited for this game, said no one ever. We have the Colts going to Denver to play the Broncos. I'm going to just pick the Broncos here because they have Russell Wilson, and he doesn't look like he has a noodle for an arm, while Matt Ryan looks like he literally can't throw anymore. He should have retired. He's so old. He should have been done. The Colts defense is good, and if they end up giving Russell Wilson problems, and that might be cool, but yeah, the Colts beat the Chiefs, which is shocking to me and everyone, but sure, they have done nothing else otherwise, and it was purely because the Chiefs were just bad that they ended up winning. So I'm going to go with the Broncos here. I think that this is believable. The Broncos defense is better than the Colts, I feel like, even though Randy Gregory isn't on the team anymore, and the Broncos now don't have Javonte Williams, who's out with an ACL tear. They only have Melvin Gordon, who fumbled the ball and already has, I think, 5 fumbles on the season. Yeah, this is not a very confident one for me, but I'm going to go with the Broncos. Moving on to the next game, we're flying across the ocean yet again to compete in London. We have the Giants taking on the Packers. The Giants don't have a quarterback. They have Saquon Barkley at every position, and the Packers have Aaron Rodgers. I think that this is very easy, the Packers, and the defense for the Packers is very sick. Moving on to our next game, this is a game that I really am not confident in. I have the Lions taking on the Patriots. The Lions have one of the best offenses in the league, but one of the worst defenses in the league. The Patriots have one of the best defenses in the league, but no quarterbacks. But I will give the Patriots credit. Bailey Zappi looked really impressive against the Packers last week. I really want to go with the Lions because I think that the Lions could be a very good team, but I'm actually going to go with the Patriots just because it's in Gillette Stadium, so I think that it's a little bit more likely that the Patriots actually manage to sneak out a win here, but I really think that the Lions' offense is very good and they could actually close to winning, I should say. I think that the Lions should not be underestimated, but I think that they're going to drop another game here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Chargers taking on the Browns. The Chargers, once again, are starting to look like a playoff team, while the Browns are still the Browns. Jacoby Brissett's playing really good, but they lost to the Falcons, which nobody predicted. So I'm going to go straight with the Chargers here. I think the Chargers' defense is really good, and if the Browns end up winning this game, I'm going to be super duper shocked. Myles Garrett's back, though, so that's pretty cool for the Browns. And yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers here. Moving on to our next game, we have the only winless team in the NFL taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags played a really close game with the Eagles. Yes, Trevor Lawrence had 5 turnovers, but I blame that more on the Eagles' defense being very good than I do on Trevor Lawrence. And the Jags' defense also looks sneaky good. I'm going to go with the Jags here. The Jags always give the Texans issues. They did last year, and it just seems like the Texans in these divisional games for the AFC South in general are going to be a little bit harder to predict, but I could also see the Texans sneaking a win off here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Falcons, who managed to beat the Browns, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady, who just looked done. Tom Brady looks like he wants to retire now. He's going through the divorce, so that's not really helping him out any. And yeah, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here just because they're the home team, and I feel like they need a bounce-back game after getting embarrassed by the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Falcons could win this game. Marcus Mariota's looking actually like a decent quarterback, but I don't think that it's going to end up happening. Moving on to our next game, I'm very sad that I have to rank this or predict this game next. I have the Steelers taking on the Bills. Kenny Pickett is officially going to be starting on Sunday for his first start, which I'm not very excited about purely because I don't want him to start against good defenses. I feel like this is going to be a very rough game. I'm very sad to say this. I'm picking the Bills. The Bills have Josh Allen and the best defense in the league. I think that the Steelers have a shot at winning. I don't think that they'll get blown out like everyone else is acting like they will. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills here. I think as much as I love the Steelers as a team, and I'm very excited to watch Kenny Pickett, so I wish that he wasn't starting against this team, I think voting against the Bills here is just insanely foolish. And if the Bills win, they're easily going to be a top 2 team for me once again. Moving on to our next game, we have the Dolphins going to North Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the New Jersey Jets. The Jets managed to sneak off a win after debatably a lucky call against the Steelers. The Steelers also played really bad and the Jets defense played really good. But that being said, the Dolphins played really bad against the Bengals. The Bengals have a very good defense, to be fair, but also at the same time, I was a little bit worried with now that the Dolphins don't have Tua. I'm going to go with the Dolphins just because I think the Dolphins wide receiver core is a little bit better than the Jets, and I think the Dolphins defense is better than the Jets, but I think I could also see the Jets winning here and taking over this division other than against the Bills. And yeah, for now, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Moving on to our next game, we have the Bears taking on the Vikings. The Bears lost to the Giants and looked awful. Justin Fields, who is one of my favorite quarterback prospects coming out of the 2020 draft, is looking like an absolute bust. I don't think he's a bust. I think the Bears organization is just the worst. But it saddens me. I love Justin Fields coming out of college. I thought he was quarterback 2 for me personally. I had him above Trey Lance and above Zach Wilson, but yeah, it just saddens me. He has no weapons or offensive line or anything. He just has nothing. And then the Vikings, who have one of the best wide receivers in the league, mixed with one of the best running backs in the league, and a very good pass rush and a very good defense. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think the Bears could sneak off a win, but I don't see it being against this team. I think the Bears are an underrated team and could for sure be better than people are acting like they are. I don't think that they'll be like a top 10 team or a top 15 team or anything like that. They'll probably be a top 10 pick, but I don't think that they're that bad compared to everyone else. Moving on to our next game, we have the Tennessee Titans, who embarrassed the Colts, taking on the Washington Commanders, who embarrass themselves every time that they walk. Yeah, the Titans are bad, but so are the Commanders. Derrick Henry looks good. Ryan Tannehill doesn't. I'm going to go with the Titans here, but I think that the Commanders could sneak off a win. The Commanders' defense is very, very good. I just am not confident in the Commanders to do anything. I think if they keep playing on the path that they are, they're going to be well in the CJ Stroud or Bryce Young sweepstakes, probably the CJ Stroud sweepstakes. But yeah, I think Carson Wentz is not the answer long term, and I don't think Sam Howell will be the quarterback for the Commanders this year. Moving on to our next game, we have the Seahawks traveling down to the land of Mardi Gras to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Saints didn't have famous Jameis last week and started Andy Dalton, who played really good. The Saints are also looking like geniuses trading up for Chris Olave. That defense, also very good. The Seahawks don't have a defense. Geno Smith is playing good, but they don't have a defense. I'm going to go with the Saints, purely because I think the Saints' defense is better than the Seahawks' offense, and I think that the Saints' offense is better than the Seahawks' defense, no matter who's at quarterback. If Chris Olave keeps popping off like he did last week against the Vikings, the Saints will easily win this game, but at the same time, the Seahawks could win this game too. Moving on to our next game, we have the 49ers taking on the Panthers. The 49ers just embarrassed the LA Rams on Monday Night Football and really annoyed me because I thought that they were going to be the worst team now that Trey Lance is gone. Yeah, they're really good. The defense is back, and they look fantastic. And then the Panthers made me even more angry because I thought that they would take down the Cardinals. They were playing at home. They're playing at home again this week, and sadly, I can't go with the Panthers anymore. I'm going to go with the 49ers. Baker Mayfield just doesn't look like the answer. I don't know if that's because of Matt Rule or what the reason is of why he's not the answer. I don't know if he's just a bad quarterback, like everyone's acting like he is. I don't think he is a bad quarterback, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go the point is I'm gonna go with the 49ers here. Their defense is way too good, and the Panthers organization just needs to implode. Moving on to our next game, we have a battle of the birds between the Eagles and the Cardinals. The Eagles, high-flying offense, one of the best teams in the league right now, only undefeated team, and the Cardinals are led by Cliff Kingsbury, who should never have been a head coach in the NFL. Kyler Murray's playing really good. James Conner's playing decently, but other than that, you got, nothing. I'm going to go with the Eagles here. The Eagles' defense is easily one of the best in the league, and they're playing at an elite level. Jalen Hurts is playing at an elite level and could be in the running for MVP. Miles Sanders is really, really good, and overall, I just think that the Eagles are much better this year than anyone could have ever expected. Moving on to our next game, we have the Cowboys taking on the LA Rams in LA. This game is going to be, I think, a very, very good game. Cooper Rush has been playing at an elite level, and Matt Stafford has not been playing at an elite level. The Cowboys defense, which again, I will always admit that I'm wrong with where I came out and said that the Cowboys defense was not that good. It is one of the best in the league. They continue to look amazing. And Zeke is actually looking good, and so is Tony Pollard. I'm actually going to go with a shocker here. I'm going to go with the LA Rams because they're at home in LA, and I think that they could use a bounce-back game. I don't know if it's going to be against the Cowboys, but I think if the LA Rams defense keeps playing at a decent level, unlike last week, but like the week before, then they will easily take down the Cowboys, but at the same time, the Cowboys could also win this game. Then, moving on to our Sunday night game, we have the Bengals flying into Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens, one of the best teams in the league, easily. Yes, they lost to the Bills, but the Bills are a top 3 team in the league right now. Easily one of the best teams, though. The Ravens, fantastic. I love Lamar Jackson playing at an MVP-like level. He really wants his second MVP. And the Bengals got their first win against the Dolphins that were led by Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to go with the Ravens here because I think that the Ravens are a better overall team than the Bengals, even though I think that the Bengals have a much better defense than the Ravens, which is playing really bad right now. And as long as the Ravens don't have really bad play calling, then the Bengals should lose this game. And it's also being played in Baltimore, so I think that that's a little bit of an advantage for the Ravens. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think that this could be one of those games that's a toss-up, though, especially if Joe Burrow comes back and plays like he has been last season. And then our final game of the week, we have the Raiders taking on the Chiefs. The Raiders look bad. Yes, they beat the Broncos and are no longer in contention for the #1 overall pick, but they still look bad. Davante Adams is not playing as well as anyone thought he would. Their defense is playing bad, even though last week they played really good. And overall, the Raiders just don't look like a complete team. They look like they should have kept Rich Bisaccia, that's his name. They should have kept him. And one of their coaches, their coach, McDaniels is having a hot seat again. He is really, really bad as a coach, I think. Yeah, it is just bad, I think. Bad team. And the Chiefs blew out the Buccaneers. Yeah, Josh McDaniels is the Raiders coach. But anyways, yeah, the Raiders look bad, and the Chiefs blew out the Buccaneers. Their offense is amazing. Juju Smith-Schuster is showing why he deserved a huge paycheck from the Steelers this season, even though he didn't get it. And he practically begged to stay in Pittsburgh. This is better for him. MVS is playing really well. Patrick Mahomes is trying to show everyone that he is a top 1 quarterback in the league, because everyone already knows he's a top 2. And yeah, Matt Mahomes, amazing, absolute unit. Travis Kelce still showing that he's the best tight end in the league. And overall, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs overall have a much, much better team. It's also being played in Arrowhead, which is an advantage for the Chiefs, because playing in Arrowhead on primetime is always an issue. But that being said, don't be mistaken if the Raiders end up giving the Chiefs a little bit of trouble. Don't be shocked. It could happen. Well, and that's going to be it for this video. Right here is going to be my predictions. This is what I have. Looking at some toss-up games, I think possibly the Lions and Pats game, the Texans and Jags game is debatable. Bears and Vikings is debatable. So is the Dolphins and Jets, and the Bengals and the Ravens. The Raiders and Chiefs, I think, is fairly confident, or fairly good pick, and overall, I'm pretty excited to see how this week goes. And that's going to be about all I got for this video. Take it easy.